Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to be learning and growing with you. Thank you for everything you do in the way of service. Our presentation today is entitled The Sixth Eminent Mystic, Edgar Allan Poe, The Transporter. Now, the AMORC book, Six Eminent Mystics by past Grand Counselor Raymund Andrea, takes as its sixth exposition the mystical life of Edgar Allan Poe. And for that, I want to share with you a particular image of him, this renowned writer. You see before you now a very skilled drawing of Edgar Allan Poe, it by Audrey Birdsley, and with a very few deft lines and colorations, captures a lot of the spirit of this particular personage. Now, in regard to our presentation today, we're going to consider how this past Grand Master, Raymund Andrea, considered Edgar Allan Poe a mystic. And we'll see how Poe in his poetry, early detective stories, tales of the psychic, and elucidations of the cosmos, transports us and lifts the veil between the finite and the infinite planes. We'll follow up on these relations and how to recognize expressions of mysticism in whatever form they take, expected or unexpected. Now, further on this matter, we'll see before us a depiction of one of Poe's beloved stories. He was a greatly prolific writer, living from 1809 to 1849. He was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and he passed through transition in Baltimore, Maryland. And he's renowned as a poet, a critic, and a short story writer in 19th century United States. In one of his most beloved poems, it was very much so during his lifetime. It was a sensation, in fact, after he wrote it. But even up to this day, the story, The Raven, where the narrator and writer hears at his window in his home a rapping. And he opens the windows and in flies a great raven. And it's a raven that's learned to say the expression nevermore. And the raven actually lands, as you'll see here, on top of a bust of Pallas Athena. Now, Pallas Athena is an important figure in the history of mysticism, something particularly important to the past imperator of the in the Rosicrucian tradition, traditional Rosicrucian, Sir Francis Bacon. And Pallas Athena was known as the spear shaker, or the shaker of the spear. And she represented reason and deep clarity of mind. And there's been much suggestion about symbolism of a raven landing on top of the head of Apollo, the figure of light. And I should not say Apollo, but Athena, who represented, similar to Apollo, light and reasoning and understanding. And our figure below, you'll see, he's greatly lamenting the passing of a woman that he loved deeply in a romantic way, and as a life partner. And he's trying to find out, even from this raven as a sign, will he ever be able to see his beloved again? It's a very poignant story that Poe would read to large audiences. And you'll see in a print here by Gustave Doré that there's the transportation of his beloved heavenward. This is Lenore is into the character in the poems being illustrated as carried heavenward by angels. And you see a great rising up angels, and you'll see there the sun, suggesting both the setting of the sun, the closing of the earthly life, but also the rising of the sun in the spiritual realm, experience of the kingdom of heaven within. And the narrator in the story is in a way tormented by this raven. It keeps saying, if he's going to see his beloved again, it says, nevermore, nevermore. But in a way in our life, the seeming impossible can become possible when we turn inward and take in the greater understanding of life, possessed by this beautiful print of the beloved Lenore rising up into the heavens. In our own way, we'll do that now as a meditation practice. We'll attune with the cosmic and rise up into the cosmic and experience what the Master Yeshua said is experiencing the kingdom of heaven within. In that spirit, I invite you now to get comfortable in your chair. We'll have a period of meditation. And if you prefer to lie down or be situated in some other position, that's fine too. One of the important things is if you can breathe in an unencumbered way. With your eyes closed and situated comfortably, I invite you to start concentrating on the great incoming and outgoing of your breath, the inhalation and the exhalations. Just enjoy the gentle rhythm of the breath. Be part of the mastery of life. And by mastery of life, Rosicrucians refer to living in harmony in all senses. With the holy temple that is our body, with our emotional, intellectual, psychic, and overarching spiritual natures, but with our environment, with our relations with all others, and with the cosmos itself. There's a traditional law of correspondence is applied that as above, so below. But there's a correspondence between the microcosm that we are with the greater world, the macrocosm. And this simple exercise of following the gentle rhythm of the breath. Increasingly realize everything expresses itself through vibration. And if it's comfortable for you, I invite you to breathe a little deeper than usual. Taking even more in what the Rosicrucians refer to as the vital life force, the VLF, to use an acronym. But through other spiritual traditions known as the Chi and also as the Prana. Not as a theory now, but as so much as an experience, I think you'll find an enriching and tonic tingling. Maybe starting in the extremities of your fingers and your toes, and then rising up through your body. A great circulation of life force. Just enjoy the gentle rhythm of the breath as we become increasingly sensitive. This presence of the life force is, of course, always with us. But when we turn inward in meditation, increase our sensitivity, we feel its flow even more. And also through this breathing exercise, we intensify, help charge ourselves with the life force. As you breathe and become very centered and stilled through the discipline of the breath, you comfortably extend your exhalation longer than your inhalation. You'll find the great vagus nerve is stimulated, bringing about the relaxation response. And with each extended exhalation, longer in inhalation, you'll feel often an astonishing building effect, a cumulative effect, being increasingly relaxed, calm, tranquil, imperturbed. In this manner, we can be more fully ourselves. And when we're more fully ourselves, we let go of who we're not. It takes a lot of energy to be not who we are. As we move more into who we are, a great deal of energy is released. As we move more into who we are, relaxed, there's an unblocking process that takes place. The great love that's deep within us can start flowing outward. Always there like a great spotlight. We'll apply this soon as we continue in our meditation period. Rising up heavenwardly, just like the beloved Lenore in Edgar Allan Poe's story and poem, The Raven. The raven is symbolic of darkness, sense of being lost, sense of being deeply troubled in emotions. In a way, the poem, The Raven, is an act of alchemical transmutation, become more balanced and see things aright, just as we're doing in this period of meditation. Soon we'll rise to the heights of the celestial sanctum, following the instructions of the Rosicrucian booklet that I'll give you resources on later. Liber 777. This breathing exercise is a meditation. In our weekly lessons and monographs of the Rosicrucians, we learn a variety of ways to work with the breath and the vital life force for our well-being of others, for a greater sense of harmonium or harmony with all and within. And in this breathing exercise, we're in effect applying the law of purification. We're raising our consciousness and healing ourselves, or helping make ourselves whole. Just as Edgar Allan Poe wrote, as an act of transmutation and catharsis. So our breathing exercises has a similar function. To further apply the law of purification, the law of cosmic attunement, continue our meditation exercise by rising to the heights of the celestial sanctum. To prepare us in that process, I invite you to say with me the following prayer and invocation. May the divine essence of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body, that I may enter the celestial sanctum and attune in pureness and worthiness. So mote it be. Now let us use our imagination, our imaginative capacity, and all our psychic faculties, and our overall deep inner spiritual nature to sense ourselves rising up from the home or office where we are now, up over their home or house or building, seen down below us our neighborhood, in our local geographic area or city or town or country, I should say, or village. As we rise up higher and higher up over our county, now even our province or state, enjoying the exhilaration, rising up. Just like Lenore carried up by the angels. Let us use our inner angelic nature to rise up higher and higher. Not only above our province or state, but our great country or nation, and see the landforms, the water systems, the weather systems below, the great system and order. We rise up higher and higher above now our continent and even our hemisphere. And now we see the entirety of the earth, the great temple for our learning and edification. Beautiful blue jewel, this planet. So we continue to rise up faster and faster, way beyond the speed of light as we transcend space and time, by the great fiery ball of the sun and the great elliptical orbits of the planets. and out beyond the outer reaches of our solar system. We continue to ascend past myriad stars and nebula and quasars and pulsars, black holes helping balance the universe. We'll apply now the law of correspondence. As we rise higher and higher into the cosmos, we'll go deeper and deeper within ourselves in the cosmic. Cosmic is a special term by Rosicrucians that refers to the universal intelligence back of the cosmos that we're increasingly experiencing, and all natural and spiritual laws that we learn in our weekly lessons in our home sanctum. Let us continue to rise up higher and higher. We sense the great motion, rotation of the Milky Way galaxy. And let us pass out from the great arm of the Milky Way galaxy where we live and look back at its beautiful, wondrous form, spiral-shaped arms, and look up and see other galaxies and myriad stars as we rise higher and higher, feeling the exhilaration of the ascent way beyond the speed of light. Enjoy the harmony of the spheres, the music of the spheres, the great range of vibrations, the cosmic keyboard that the Rosicrucians speak of. And in this exercise, you increasingly become like unto the master pianist, play whatever octave of the cosmic keyboard is needed for health and harmony and service to all. Let's increasingly take in the vastness of the universe, the cosmos, suggestive of the even greater vastness that is deep within us, that unifies us with all. As we rise higher and higher up, I think you'll sense that the universe is revolving about a great cosmic axis, spoken of since ancient times. When you sense the presence of that cosmic axis, zoom towards its midpoint, the very center of the cosmos. And when you reach it, slow up and take in with wonder and awe the great temple of the divine, the cosmos, and the universal intelligence back at the cosmic. Let us dwell for a while, tuning with the cosmic. Now, as we continue our meditation, let us apply further instructions of the Rosicrucian booklet, Liber 777. I invite you now to visualize your personal sacred space, your celestial sanctum. Maybe simply the temple of divine all about us, or maybe an inspiring temple back on the temple of the earth, or maybe some sacred place in nature known to you, a grove, a seashore, a mountaintop or hilltop, some inspiring place in nature for you. I invite you now to fill in all the sights and sounds and all the impressions of physical and psychic of your personal sacred space, your celestial sanctum. You may wish to picture stained glass windows there or other ways, symbols, Rosicrucian laws and principles, mystical laws and principles. Maybe incense rising up, symbolizing how we rose up to the heights of the celestial sanctum, and symbolizing the law of transmutation and transformation that we're applying right now to transform ourselves, come into our deeper wisdom this way, through meditation. You need to fill in your impressions and sense of the celestial sanctum. You may wish to include all those on this teleconference call with us now. The visible and invisible masters, the Grand Lodge and Supreme Grand Lodge officers of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC, conducting a sacred convocation at this time at the heights of the celestial sanctum. Once you have your celestial sanctum visualized, you can release it. We can do it together when you're ready by saying, if it pleases the cosmic, it is done. So mote it be. Having released our visualization, let us dwell at this high point of consciousness, attuning with the cosmic and surrendering to the divine within. Just feel all there is to feel and let go. If you find your mind wandering, just lovingly and gently bring it back to the discipline of the breath. Dwelling in communion in your celestial sanctum, the center of your being, at the center of the cosmos. Meditation is a profound act of non-avoidance. Whatever may arise in your mind, take note, then return back to the gentle discipline of the breath. Center in yourself, the heights of the celestial sanctum, in the presence of the divine within, our true nature and guide in life. Let us continue to soak up the master within, the inner self, the divine within, like the way a sponge soaks water. We will be more fully ourselves, more fully alive. Soon we'll undertake another spiritual operation of the work and worship of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC. I invite you to participate with me in the work of the Silent Council, in conjunction with the Council of Solace of the Grand Lodge of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC. By radiating love and well-being to all those who have petitioned the Grand Lodge, the Rosicrucian Order AMORC, for guidance and healing. and radiating love and well-being to all those who've petitioned the affiliate bodies of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC for guidance and healing, and radiating love and well-being to all those you know who are in need of guidance and healing, and finally, to radiate love and well-being to all sentient beings throughout the cosmos who are in need of guidance and healing. Let the love and well-being flow out from you like a great spotlight illuminating the universe, moving out at tremendous rapidity, fill the universe, and further enliven the universe, awakening the healing capacity within each being in need. So love and well-being flow out at a great rate, an exhilarating rate, just like we rose up at an exhilarating pace to the heights of celestial sanctum. First, use great conscious effort, spiritual force from within. The divine within will continue the spiritual operation, and you'll find that the love and well-being radiations will speed up it, and you know you're reaching those in need. At a certain point, I think you'll find you no longer need to make any conscious effort. Just let the love and well-being flow and surrender to the experience. Applying the law of service, law of cosmic attunement, and the law of impersonality, and the law of love. Soon we'll formally conclude our period of sending of metaphysical aid and the work of the Silent Council in conjunction with the Council of Solace. But be assured that the radiations of love and well-being will continue from us as a way of life and in part helping fulfill our mission in life. Before we conclude, I invite you to say with me now, if it pleases the cosmic, it is done. So mote it be. And let us continue to dwell a while longer at the heights of the celestial sanctum, being in one with the one, lifting our self-consciousness increasingly into the cosmic consciousness, assuming the cosmic, being the cosmic, experiencing as the cosmic experiences now. Soon we'll begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum. I invite you now to apply the law of gratitude. It will intensify the application of the law of cosmic attunement. Expressing our gratitude and thanks to all those who have loved us well. To all those who have taught us well. And to all those who have sacrificed well on our behalf. Let us reach out to them now with our thanks, whether they're incarnated or not. Inspired by their example, we so too will follow it in fulfilling our own mission in life. At this time, we can begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum, being transported at a tremendous speed, way beyond the speed of light, experiencing again the harmony of the spheres, the music of the spheres, moving past galaxies and stellar phenomena and stars, and sensing the presence of the great cosmic web connecting the galaxies and stars. Taking in the full range of vibrations of the cosmic keyboard, enriched and ennobled, re-energized and rested by dwelling the heights of the celestial sanctum in this exercise. As we see in the distance the great spiraling arms of our local home, the Milky Way galaxy, let us plunge back in the great arm where we dwell, past myriad stars and stellar phenomena, rogue planets and asteroids, comets, and see in the distance the beautiful elliptical orbits, the planets of our solar system, the great star of the sun, the temple of the earth. So we come back to the hemisphere where we left off, the continent, great nation or country, province or state, the county, our local geographic area, town, village, or city, and our neighborhood. Let us apply another prayer and invocation, formally conclude this period, tuning with the cosmic, the heights of the celestial sanctum, by saying, may the God of my heart sanctify this attunement of self with the celestial sanctum. So mote it be. And let us continue to descend on our home or office or building, back in the room we left off. We may wish to stretch and arch our back and move our fingers and toes and open our eyes and feel all the more the cosmic attunement we'll take with us now as a momentum in our life. Reintegrated, remade, all the more ready for the work and worship of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC now and always, and fulfilling our mission in life. Thank you, everyone. As we continue to consider Edgar Allan Poe as a mystic, show before you now a remarkable drawing. It was originally a wood engraving. It gathers together the imaginative life of Edgar Allan Poe depicted at the center, and various scenes from his stories, his acts of imaginations, and from his poems. For example, you'll see here the bells, from his poem about the bells. You may recognize some of the other stories and tales of a remarkable nature. You see what it value through Poe and others, the great value of an inward life, psychic life, a mystical life, a life of the imagination. And through our Rosicrucian teachings, we learn how to apply all these things in balance for the master of great harmony in living. Edgar Allan Poe was with us during the 19th century, only 4 decades. But he was highly prolific in his writing in its various forms. In fact, in some ways, it's astonishing that one person could have written so much in his lifetime. I know many of you who enjoy his tales, such as The Fall of the House of Usher, The Mask of the Red Death, The Black Cat, The Telltale Heart, The Pit and the Pendulum, The Murders in the Rue Morgue, The Purloined Letter. These and other stories were very formative in the development of literature, not only in the United States, but in Europe and throughout the world. We see in this a sense, for example, the story of the Purloined Letter. It's interesting, often today we take for granted the detective story. But Poe was an important founding figure of that type of story. And reading them, you're astounded by how good his stories are. His Detective de Pomme, Active in Paris, for example. We see before us the Purloined Letter, an important document that was hid by hanging letters. The obvious was overlooked, even though they went through the apartment with great vigor to find things. You can see the figure on the left, the important document hidden in plain sight, as we had a Rosicrucian symposium on some years back. In these stories, you'll find that, and not only these detective stories, but his other stories, that he philosophizes, but in their rich, in the ancient setting, or in the Rosicrucians, in the love of wisdom. He talks about the need, for example, in the Purloined Letter, but also in his detective story, The Murders in the Rue Morgue, about how it's important to have the deductive reasoning faculties highly developed, but also the inductive reasoning highly developed for empiricism and rationalism, the deductive and inductive balance. But there's something that I have to build them together, and that is the imagination. That's the creative genius that his detective exemplifies. And also Poe wrote about for us to exemplify. And this is something as Rosicrucians we're very familiar with. Have all the faculties working. And that meditation practice we just did helps boost our mood. It helps boost our creativity. It helps clarify our minds through calmness. All these things and more Poe was realized. It's interesting that in his story, The Fall of the House of Usher, he actually refers to a Rosicrucian document. Poe was highly erudite, had great erudition. He was very well read in the arts and the sciences and humanities. Much has been said about him has been incorrect. It's good to see in recent decades that his life has been re-examined by very capable historians and persons trained in historical methodology. Because much has been thought about him has been said by persons who were very displeased with him because he criticized them in his lifetime, and they made up things about him that were incorrect. And it's good to see that in a way, past Grandmaster Raymund Andrea presaged these matters by looking at more his tales and giving the signal that much is written about his life is not correct. It's true in Poe's life that there was various passings of persons, particularly women, that he was greatly in love with, either as mother figures, as friends, or his beloved partners. He's made a very strong impression on him and his stories of longing. But Poe was not particularly a romantic or a rationalist. In a way, he transcends those categories. We'll see here too also, not only helped with developing the detective story and much of what people watch on TV in the evening, we can trace back to Poe's genius, but also he helped develop the genre of science fiction. And his stories were greatly influential to Jules Verne's stories and others, and Asimov and others in developing the idea of science fiction, but also foretelling. In a way, Poe is a prophetic visionary. I know one of you asked recently in my last teleconference about, is it good to have premonitions? Yes, it is. And the Rosicrucian teachings and meditations and psychic development exercises will help us increasingly to have premonitions. We recall, for example, that past Imperator Ralph M. Lewis, in his book Cosmic Mission Fulfilled, about past imperator, H. Spencer Lewis mentioned that imperator, H. Spencer Lewis, often had premonitions. It's something we've increasingly become sensitive to in all ways through meditation. Now, a druid takes care in how our premonitions are revealed or spoken about, but Poe also had them in his own way, and I'll speak about that shortly. Indeed, when past Grand Master Raymund Andrea talked about Poe, and one thing he's not fully appreciated of is that he had a very rich psychic life that I spoke to of earlier. When he spoke of imagination, he was including the psychic in his experience. Here's a composite image that shows an early photograph of Poe, but also set with a cosmic background, which is very befitting. Because we know that in Poe's stories that he wrote about things that would have premonitions of or sense of what would be coming in developments in physics, in biology, and in mathematics, and other lines of endeavors in the 20th century and even into our current 21st century. The culminating work of his life was Eureka. Indeed, we think of the great scientist, engineer, and inventor from ancient times, Archimedes, who is said to have said Eureka on a particular discovery. Poe wrote a very poignant and deep work of 150 pages. I think of it as an essay, but also a prose poem near the close of his earthly incarnation. And many have read it in later years and been astonished by how much he predicted would come about and how much would develop in expanding consciousness of humanity. It's interesting, for example, that in that prose poem, Eureka, I invite you to read, he talks about the universe expanding from a single primordial atom, which we later realize is the Big Bang theory. He also talks about time and space as being part of the same continuum, essentially underlying the same thing, that the Rosicrucian student, Albert Einstein, would take up in his special relativity and develop further in his general relativity. And Albert Einstein greatly appreciated Poe's Eureka. Also in that, Poe talks about the limitations of logic, particularly thinking of deductive, but also inductive logic. And we'll see later the development of what's referred to as metalogic, a subject that I greatly appreciate studying in a philosophy course in as an undergraduate at university. And the concept of metalogic can get developed further by the inspired student of mysticism, Kurt Gödel, in his work on the incompleteness and undecidability, standard arithmetic, and some mathematical systems. In a way, has transformed our understanding of logic and of mathematics. In a certain sense, Poe foretold that. It's true that the mathematics, the detailed experiments had to be developed to combine with the rationalism, the empiricism, and the imagination or intuitive faculties that Poe foretold to us. In a similar fashion, Poe, here's a cover from a recent book that I'll give you the resources on. He's anticipated various developments in the expressions of life and talked about in modern biology. For example, he took much more of a systems view in the expressions of life and being integrated systems approach. And life as an interconnected system. All these things and more, he was laughed at and thought that he, in a way, he was out of his senses during his time period. But later, gradually, he'd be taken more seriously and seriously, as we've realized. It's also very important to realize that his writings were taken up greatly in Europe. The great literary critic and poet Charles Baudelaire, for example, translated Eureka. That's one of the ways that Einstein would come to know about the poem Eureka and other great philosophers and scientists in Europe, and gradually would make its way throughout the world. Many of his conceptions, his integrated approach, remind us of other Eastern philosophies and indigenous philosophies as well. And in this sense, we can sort of take in Poe as a whole. Here on the left, his literary works of imagination. On his right, his keen following of the developments of science and his rebelling against what he found was a too narrow expression of science and logic and mathematics, symbolically expressed on the right. Indeed, it's quite beautiful to sense that many of the things that his approach we can greatly appreciate by Rosicrucian laws and principles. And Poe, in his own way, had contact with various important Rosicrucian documents, such as the Rosicrucian manifestos from the 17th century, and works of Flood and Michael Mayer and others. He also had contact with certain persons that were Rosicrucians, and he would learn from them. And this gives us a whole new light on Edgar Allan Poe and why Grandmaster Raymund Andrea chose him as one of the six eminent mystics to talk about in his book. So to come back and wrap up, I'll ask Karen at this time to upload in the chat for you a PDF document that has resources for you. This time we won't paste them in the chat, but see if you can download the uploaded PDF document in the chat. If you're having any challenges with that, you can always send an email message to instructions@rosicrucian.org, instructions@rosicrucian.org, and request this PDF document with the resources. So by way of conclusion, I'll say that in a certain sense, in Edgar Allan Poe's mission in his life, in a way it was complete by the publication of the inspired work Eureka. It was his Eureka and a culmination of all his work. And soon after, his earthly incarnation drew to a close. And with his passing, as the Rosicrucians say, his great initiation. So today we've considered further Edgar Allan Poe as a psychic, as a mystic, as a great figure in imagination, as a great uplifter of humanity. And we see how Poe in his poetry, his early detective stories, his tales of the psychic and elucidations of the cosmos, transports us and lifts us up and lifts us the veil between us and the finite and infinite planes. And we followed up on these things and how to look for as Grandmaster Raymund and Andrea look wherever we are for intimations of the psychic, the deeper experiences in life, for they're always around us, expected and unexpected. And in this way, we work further, have a deeper understanding of Rosicrucian laws and principles and their creative expression and application for the mastery of life, harmonious living, and service. Thank you.